We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
Hello, and welcome back to the special edition. Is that what I called it last time, Cal? Special edition?
So, yeah.
Special edition episodes of It's Just a Hill. We're recapping the Tour de France. Well, last episode we previewed the 21 stages of the Tour de France. Now we're recapping the first week up to and including stage 10, which happened today?
Stage 9, I believe.
Stage 9 happened today. It is July 10th. This will come out on the rest day.
Okay.
So it's a rest day. You know, we're resting our eyes because we watched a lot this week.
Yeah,
right?
And we both rode our bikes pretty hard today.
And we both rode our bikes pretty hard today.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, I not sure how. Well, this is a great reason to say this sentence, because I'm having a hard time forming a sentence right now. Yeah, because of how hard I rode my bike. So we'll see.
Yeah, I did some hard interval efforts at the end of like a 5-hour ride. So
Yeah.
my brain's a little fried.
Getting ready for Greylock.
Indeed, yeah. Trying to see if I can hold a threshold for 40 minutes at 60 miles into a ride.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's something else. Can't wait. I suffered a lot myself today. I did the Plymouth Gravel Grinder. That's what it was called, in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It was a gravel race, like 100K, 60. I think I ended up having just shy of 65 miles. I came in 12th.
awesome.
Yeah. And I think there were about 90-ish in our field, you know, and there was probably about 120 total.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It was about 7 miles of beach sand I was explaining to you before.
Insane.
Beach sand.
How do you feel about sand?
Hate sand.
Sand.
It's coarse. It's rough. It gets everywhere.
Anakin Skywalker, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, are you an angel? Wow. Can we just do a Phantom Menace podcast? Not that there's enough Star Wars podcasts out there already. There's enough cycling podcasts out there already, too.
Yeah, there is. I'll just talking about Star Wars. I'll say there is a pretty great cycling meme account called "May the Watts Be With You" on Instagram. That's all.
I didn't know that.
Star Wars memes that relate to cycling.
Oh,
pretty amazing.
I don't know. My dad has sent me a picture of Darth Vader riding a Pinarello.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cartoon. Someone drew it, so it's not really as cool as you think it might be. But what do you say? Let's get into the tour.
Yeah. How you feeling about this tour, John?
Very excited about it.
Yeah.
Like the most tour I think I've ever watched, especially because of like the amount of coverage that I'm getting to see. We talked about it a little bit last time. Wow. Okay, that can't happen. We talked about it a little bit last time, that like how to watch it, right? Whether you're going to stream it online, there's legal and illegal ways of doing so. I ended up signing up for GCN Plus, and it was like $7 or $8 for the month, and no commercials. Full stage.
Fantastic.
And like if I'm working from home, it's on and I'm putting my computer down when it starts to get exciting. When I start to hear Sean Kelly talk like a little bit louder and a little bit more excited, it's just been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it. How about yourself?
Same. This has been one of the most exciting tours. The first week of a tour that I've seen. We only had 2 sprint stages, which in my opinion, in Wout van Aert's opinion, apparently, sprint stages can be kind of boring. We can talk about that in a little bit.
He says that?
Yeah.
Recently or before?
So it's in relation to...
No, sorry. We can get into it later.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
Only 2 real sprint stages. Cobble Stage, incredibly exciting.
Yes.
And today was the last day that we had an actual breakaway go to the line.
Yeah.
So there've been a lot of GC battles, really watching Vingegaard and Pogačar closely.
Right.
So I think the tour is still up for grabs.
For sure. As of now, what, 33-second gap? Is
39.
that 39-second gap?
Yeah.
We're heading into the Alps. It's going to get mountainous. There's going to be 40-minute climbs, and Pog is going to get dropped by Jonas.
Oh, we hope.
Yes, we hope.
So maybe we should give the listeners a quick rundown here. So in first place in the tour, we got Tadej Pogačar.
Yep.
The overwhelming favorite, like we talked about in the first episode.
Right.
Jonas Vingegaard in second. 39 seconds down. And in third place, my boy, Geraint Thomas.
Yeah, you know what? Other than the blunder in stage 1 where he didn't take off his gilet.
Embarrassing.
And spends all of this time and money on aero gains, right? Like, we're talking a lot of goofy helmets this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really goofy. This guy leaves on his jacket. Mm-hmm. But he's been impressing me a lot. And I don't know, maybe he's... Actually, the whole Ineos team is growing on me a bit.
Yeah, Ineos is still a super team. You know, they're not quite as strong as they were in the era when Froome was dominating the tour. But yeah, Adam Yates, Geraint's teammate, right there in fourth place, just a few seconds back.
Yeah, where's Danny Martinez? Is he top 10?
Martinez dropped out today.
He did,
or not out of the race, but out of the GC.
Yeah.
Tom Pidcock in 7th.
Wow.
Very surprising ride there.
One of my rising stars. I mean, obviously a rising star in all of cycling, but love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The American Nielsen Paulus, who's had a very impressive first week of the tour in 9th.
Yep.
And then Primoz Roglic, one of the other favorites, in 11th. Primoz had a bad day on stage 5 in the cobbles. Yeah. Got taken out by a hay bale.
Yeah, really bad.
Dislocated his shoulder. Sat down on the side of the road, popped it into place
himself,
and got back on his bike.
Right.
And kept going.
Right.
And Primoz still has some fight in him.
Agreed.
We're hoping that he can, do some long range attacks, maybe.
Yeah. I could see Primo, maybe not necessarily at this moment in time, seeing that he hasn't really fully recovered, right? I mean, how do you recover when you're like riding 100 miles a day and like at 27, 30 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, in 80, 90 degree weather.
Right. And going up mountains. I mean, this is where we still haven't hit the Alps, but still, I mean, they're riding 100 miles, climbing 8,000 feet at 30 miles an hour. It's wild, right? Yeah. So I think he still has the chance to like podium,
Definitely.
Yeah.
If he keeps riding consistently, a lot of those guys in front of him are going to drop down.
For sure.
So what's been your highlight of the tour?
My highlight of the tour, honestly, when I think of it's the Tom Pidcock interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about that stage?
Yeah, okay.
That might be the most exciting.
Yes.
Or not necessarily the most exciting, but in some ways the most controversial.
Sure. So that was stage 6, right? Beach to Longwy, right? That was 109 miles, 8,400 feet of climbing. And that was the one. So at this point, Wout is in yellow, and he is attacking like a madman all day, right?
Yeah, very...
Going off the front of the group.
Some would say uncharacteristic of what someone in the yellow jersey typically does.
Right. But that is changing a lot, right? Like, that is changing a lot in the past few years. Not to jump ahead too much, but like Pog's been in yellow for a few days now. He could have given it up and take some of like the angles off of him and let someone else hold on to yellow for a few days, which is like very characteristic of like someone who still might go on to win the tour. Try not to win some stages. He's been like really going at it. This guy, he's really got something to prove. But yeah. Stage 6 was great.
Stage 6. Right. So. The day before, Jumbo had some setbacks, like we said.
Right. That was the Cobble Stage to the Ehrenberg, right? A lot of parts of Paris-Roubaix. Crazy, cool.
At one point in that race, or in that stage, Pogačar looked like he was going to run away with it.
Yes.
He had gotten away from Jumbo-Visma. There was a break up the road, but he still had like a minute on these guys.
Right.
Roglic, again, dislocated shoulder. Vingegaard losing time. And Wout, in the yellow jersey, basically pulls his teammate Vingegaard and a bunch of other guys back up to Pogačar, closes that gap, and probably saved the tour.
Sure.
For his team there. And then stage 7 is going to be the Planche de Belfi. Wout really doesn't have a chance of keeping yellow then, or at least he doesn't think so.
He's here to win the green jersey.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
So stage 6, he goes in the breakaway in the yellow jersey. wearing a full yellow skin suit.
Yes.
Again, with the Red Bull helmet, which I have some problems with.
Yeah, you don't like the Red Bull helmet.
No, I mean, it doesn't match. Like, if you're going to go full yellow skin suit, you got to at least get Red Bull to make you a custom yellow helmet.
Yeah, sure. They could have put like a yellowish finish on it instead.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I mean, that is interesting that he gets to wear that Red Bull helmet, right? Because he's like a Red Bull athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The team, typically they don't allow you to wear a non-team sponsor kit, but he must have
it's
gotten some special dispensation. Yeah. So anyway, Wout goes in the break. He gets the intermediate sprint points. And this is a break that is doomed to fail pretty much from the start.
Sure.
And this is another thing to note is that this is the longest stage of the tour.
Right.
And only 2 other guys go with him in the break. The peloton never gives them more than, I think, a 3-minute lead. So they know they're not going to
keep it.
Yeah.
Right.
The other people in the break were Quinn Simmons and who's the other guy? Not Vlasov.
Fuglsang. Yeah.
And Fuglsang drops out early because he knows they're not going to make it.
Right.
Simmons, Wout put him in the hurt locker.
Oh, my gosh.
He was cross-eyed trying to stay in Wout's
cross-eyed
wheel.
for so many kilometers.
Yeah.
There was a meme that compared his beard to Alf. I don't like Quinn Simmons. He's racist. Yeah.
So Quinn gets dropped.
Right.
Wout solo for the last, I don't know what it was, 10, 20 kilometers.
Yep.
And as expected, the peloton does catch him, I think, right before the last kilometer.
Right, which is at about 11K, right?
Yeah.
10?
This is a slight summit finish.
Right.
As the peloton gets to the top, it's a reduced bunch. Roglic tries to sprint, surprise everybody, but unfortunately, Pogacar follows the move, gets on his wheel, sprints past Roglic, wins the stage, gets a time bonus. And so it did create a lot of controversy because people are like, Wout could have kept the jersey for one more day. You know,
what was he doing? Why did he stay out front so much?
Didn't win the stage.
Right.
Pogacar just gained more time.
Right.
What was that all about?
Combined with like Primo's basically pulling Pog to the end.
Yeah.
Like, or close to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What's your take on it?
He's going to lose it anyway the next day.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to make history with the amount of points he's going to get for the green jersey.
Yep.
That is important to him, right? He is the most exciting bike rider, cyclist going right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In a flashy Peter Sagan type way, right? Like, not necessarily like cocky in the same way, and obviously not talented in the same way that like Pog or even like Primoz or Jonas are, right? A different type of rider. But I don't know. It's the Tour de France. Go full gas. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about him being a lot more humble in some ways than Sagan.
Yeah.
He I think so. In doing this, I think that he, in part, just wanted to honor the jersey.
Sure.
Maybe it wasn't the best move tactically. Had things played out a little differently, they had a hard time getting the break established. I think that if he had an easier time getting away from the bunch,
right,
he would have had a little more energy.
All day he's trying to go.
Could have been incredible.
Yeah.
But what I referenced earlier in the podcast was a report I heard from a different cycling podcast that said that in the post-race interview, Wout talked about how when he was a kid, watching cycling on TV, he didn't like bunch sprints. He thought they were boring.
He thinks
they had flat stages
Yeah.
Where nothing happens for 200 kilometers.
Right.
And then there's maybe the last 2K is exciting.
Right.
Which is, in the Mark Cavendish era, when Cav first got into cycling in 2008, half the stages were flat stages.
Right.
But anyway, so I think Wout, if you read into that interview, basically what he's saying is that he wanted to make things exciting. He wanted to kind of be one of those old style riders like Merckx who goes in the break in the yellow jersey.
Right.
Even when it's kind of doomed to fail.
Yeah. He's not there for yellow.
No.
He really isn't.
Yeah. And we previewed the green jersey competition a little bit, and sort of to give the listeners a sense of where that's at. Wout basically has this on lock in the first week, which is unheard of.
Yeah, right. Unless he doesn't finish the race for some reason.
Again, there was very few sprint stages, so Fabio Jakobsen, the sprinter, really doesn't have a chance of taking it back.
Right.
And nobody else proved to be good enough to compete.
Did he get points today? Today was the first stage I didn't get to watch the full stage.
I don't think so, because it was like a 20-man break up the road.
Right.
So I think all the points would have been gone. But yeah, Pedersen, who I thought might have a chance of competing with Wout, really didn't.
Oh no, he's on Alpecin.
Pedersen's on track.
He's on track.
Yeah.
He's on track. Oh, Jaspersen is on Alpecin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to so we could finish talking about the stages, but I'd also like to talk about the teams and how certain teams are showing up and other teams are not, essentially.
Yeah, along those lines.
Right. We've talked a lot about UAE. We've talked a lot about Jumbo.
Right. And in our first episode, we talked about how Wout's biggest rival was Mathieu van der Poel.
Right.
In the past, we've seen those two go head-to-head in Flanders and other races.
Right.
Unfortunately, van der Poel basically didn't show up to this race.
Yeah, he's not on form.
He had ridden the Giro d'Italia back in May. He spent a lot of days trying to get in the breakaway without much to show for it, really. He only won one stage in that race.
Yeah.
And I'm aghast that his team and his coaches let him start the tour.
Let alone still be in it.
Yeah.
Right?
I think you're right. They're doing him a bit of a disservice. Maybe it's his own choice. He doesn't want to drop out, but he really should pull out and focus on later goals this season. Otherwise, he's going to come away with nothing much to show.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, this year's World Champions course could really be great for him if he's on the right form.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with it. It's in Australia.
Oh, cool.
I think it might be sort of a rolling course for punchers.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, it just seems wild. He did do a little bit of pulling yesterday, stage 8. He was in the break a little bit, doing some work. He really hasn't showed up otherwise. Most of the time I've seen him on screen, he's been on the back of the peloton or off the back of the peloton. Very uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah,
of him. I mean, he's a super exciting rider. I'm not his biggest fan, but that doesn't mean he's not a great rider.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame. We could have had, again, this tour's been exciting as it is, very exciting, but had Van der Poel showed up on his game, he might have been the one rider who could have given Wout a run for his money.
Right.
Or they could have worked together in the break,
Right, because like Tom Pidcock said, Wout is taking the piss out of these other riders.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go to our Instagram. I believe we've got...
I actually just uploaded it to our YouTube, too.
Okay.
Because I don't want to lose it. That's how much I love it. And, I can't monetize footage from GCN, and they might just take it down. But I uploaded it to our YouTube. It's on our Instagram. Tom Pidcock gives a 1 minute long interview after stage 6, this stage, where Wout is going off. He talks about Pog a little bit first, and then he goes into, I'm just going to put the audio clip in right here.
A reaction on Wout van Aert on
he's playing with our balls, isn't he? He's, I don't know what to say, to be honest. He's taking the piss, isn't he?
Thank you for that.
All right.
Okay, now we all got to enjoy that together. I've listened to it. So I got to edit it into the podcast. I listened to it at least 5 more times.
Yeah.
Oh, man, so good.
Hilarious. Love that Cockney accent.
Yeah, it's just great. What other stages stand out to you as being excited?
Yeah, well, we talked about the Cobble Stage.
Yeah.
That, obviously, the last 100 kilometers of that stage is incredible. The amount of dust being generated always makes for great imagery.
Agreed.
I follow a lot of cycling photographers, photographers on Instagram, and whenever they photograph a cobble stage like that,
I was getting excited seeing it live, just knowing what type of pictures the Grubers were going to take.
Yeah,
Ashley and Jared, they just take such great photos.
And that was especially exciting because we got to see Nielsen Paulus, who had never ridden the cobbles before, apparently.
Oh, really?
have a great ride.
Yes.
So Nielsen is an American rider who's on EF and got in the breakaway and rode himself into second place on GC.
Yeah.
We got really close to seeing an American in yellow in the first time in I guess 30 years. If you
First
don't
time
count
since Greg
Lance.
LeMond.
Yeah.
First time since Greg LeMond. Yeah.
So, shame that didn't happen.
Agreed.
But it's still really exciting and promising, I think, for the future that we've got a rider like Nielsen.
Oh, for sure. He's young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super talented.
Yeah. And hopefully he can, go the distance, hang on to a top 10.
Yeah, that'd be great.
GC.
Yeah.
Especially since Rigoberto Urán, who was one of those riders who always seemed to get himself into the top 10 somehow.
Yes.
In a Grand Tour, seems to be kind of on his way out.
Today he lost a good amount of time, I think, right? A couple
he got
minutes.
in the break today, and
Yeah.
then when the peloton caught him, he was just
Swallowed him up out the back. Yeah.
So, stage 6 has been incredible. What about any others that stand out to you?
Not necessarily. Like I said before, I think every single stage has been exciting, in a different way. The sprint at the top of de Belleville was just amazing, the way that goes to gravel at the top, right? And that was when Leonard Kemna was out front.
Yeah.
He almost had it. Pog and Jonas come up on him. You think Jonas is going to have it, and Pog passes him in the last 20 meters at the line, and you could see that Jonas had nothing left, right? I watched a couple interviews with him after. He was very happy with his performance. He's like, I gave it all I got, right? This guy beat me with 20 meters, and this guy is Pog, a generational talent. So to me, that was very exciting. The next day was also very exciting, right? That was Dole to Lausanne, stage 8. Crazy sprint. Michael Matthews almost gets it. Wout gets the stage win past Matthews. And then did Pog end up coming in third?
He did.
What the hell?
Yeah.
This dude, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's sprinting with Michael Matthews and Wout van Aert after 4 categorized climbs, right? And this was also the stage that Pinot got knocked in the face with the Musette. Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pog is starting to remind me a little bit of Godzilla in this first week. It feels like they throw the
Everything.
army at him, the navy
Yes.
at him, and he just cannot get knocked down.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see. I don't know if Ineos will do anything. I think it's going to take both Ineos and Jumbo working together somehow.
To stop him.
But
Yeah.
we haven't really seen them take it. It seems like they're letting UAE control the pace on a lot. Like today, they basically let UAE pace up the climb.
Yeah.
And at the end, Pog and Vingegaard sprinted away
Right.
For those bonus seconds.
Pog was yelling at his team today.
Yeah.
Yelling at them out there to
Yeah.
keep the pace up.
They didn't look that great on Planche de Belleville.
No.
Um,
Brandon McNulty dropping out
Yeah.
early on the pull up the climb, even though he should probably be the last person pulling for him, right?
yeah.
They have an interesting team. Someone just dropped out for COVID a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I don't want to think the tour is over, right? A 39-second advantage isn't wild, right? I mean, what was Primo's advantage in 2020? A minute. Yeah. So, right, like I said earlier, going into the Alps, these 40-minute climbs, really hot days. Pog, although he's great at everything, hasn't really been too great at those. He's been great at those compared to maybe some of these other riders. Also hoping that Primoz can move up in the time slots here. But yeah, Ineos, do they still have 2 GC men? Is that a problem, right? These teams like Jumbo with 2 GC contenders and Ineos with 2 GC contenders, do they not have the right focus? Because there's you got to divvy up your domestiques. Is that an issue?
Yeah, and I was getting at that a little bit in the first episode with my I wasn't very comfortable with the fact that Jonas thought he could win the Tour.
Right.
But now clearly,
I mean, he
it
can.
was good that they brought 2
Yeah.
contenders because
Right.
Roglic is out early.
Right.
Potentially. But Ineos had 4 guys in the top 10. Now
Yeah.
that Martinez is out, he'll become a domestique. Pidcock probably should become a domestique as well.
Yeah, but I also
look for
just
those
read an
guys.
interview that he is not here like just for the exposure to the Grand. Right? Did he do the Vuelta or the Giro last
He did
year?
a Giro.
He did the Giro. And he did pretty well. It's so there's something to be said about these cross riders. They can recover like so much better than everyone else, right? Because I'm talking like Van der Poel, Wout, and Pidcock, right? I never really thought Pidcock was on the same level as Wout and Matthew Van der Poel. Now I think about it that, he's just a little bit younger. He hasn't like quite hit that form yet. Like I think he's tiny. He can really climb. Like to me, sure, maybe not this year, right? I mean, he's not, because Geraint Thomas has a good chance of hitting the podium at this point, I think. I mean, maybe even Yates, right? Depending on like how that goes. But like, yeah, does Pidcock turn into domestique? Where he's still like top 15, isn't he?
Pidcock?
Yeah.
He's in the top 10.
He's in the top 10.
Yeah, Pidcock is 7th overall.
Yeah. Wild.
So I would love to see Yates get up there as well.
Sure.
'Cause he's a guy who has come close in his career, but never
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
made it. So, yeah. Other stages that we want to highlight?
No, not necessarily. Does anything stand out to you?
I will say that stage 1, which
Oh, yeah, the time
generally,
trial.
First stage time trials can be boring.
Sure.
But this one
It was not
turned out to
boring.
be raining.
No, it was wet.
And so it was really tense. And also, on a more humorous note, Specialized debuted a special time trial helmet.
Yeah.
And the memes
Oh.
that came out of that were
So
hilarious.
the inside of that helmet is like a sock.
Yeah, it's a windsock.
It's a
It
windsock.
goes around the neck and over the head.
Right. So there are no straps on this helmet. It's basically like a super long turtleneck that is only leaving your face exposed, and that is attached to the protective helmet on the outside.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's from Spaceballs.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And this was the first time we're seeing a lot of like those kits in person, right? We talked about some of them beforehand. The Rafa Palace kits are sick. They are sick. Stefan Bissinger went down twice in the time trial, but man, was that helmet cool with like the little dinosaur on it and stuff. And Nielsen Palace has looked like an absolute hunk out there every single time I've seen him with his pink POC helmet, and it's just like so on point. The bikes are great.
And I think I speak for all of us when I say that, like, we really want to know when we're going to be able to buy some of those Crocs.
Yeah, I'm all about the Crocs. It's probably the thing I will try when, like, because that store is going to sell out immediately, right? That's happened every other time a collab like this. I mean, they did one with Palace before, but even their like exclusive kits that they do for the Giro and stuff always sell out, right? Like Rafa is the hype beast of cycling, you know. As someone that collects sneakers and owns Rafa, I feel okay saying that. They make great stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But that stuff will sell out. The Crocs are what I'm going for.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not going to waste my time trying to get some jersey that, Rigoberto Urán wears.
I got a T-shirt and a cycling cap from the last drop. I'm all good.
I have the hoodie.
just
It's
need
great.
Some of those.
I want those Crocs because they're going to come with those like plug-in things. Yeah. I hope it's my first pair of Crocs. I can't wait. Do you own any?
Crocs? No,
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah.
And speaking of style,
Yeah.
one thing that often gets discussed when it comes to the Tour de France is the style of the guys in the leaders' jerseys,
Oh, yes.
which you yourself noted how Pogacar was rocking 2 pairs of sunglasses.
Yes. He was wearing 2 pairs of
the
sunglasses.
other
I
day.
memed it and put it on Instagram. But you're talking about what he's wearing on the bike.
That too, yeah. So Pog was wearing 2 pairs of sunglasses, one white to match his white jersey because
Right.
he's in the lead in the best young riders, and one yellow for his
Yeah.
yellow jersey leader. But it's always interesting when a guy is in a leader's jersey to see, is he going to do a helmet to match? Is he going to do bib shorts to match?
Right.
Is he going to do his bike to match?
Right.
So, for instance, Wout, stage 2, he'd finished second in the time trial.
Yeah.
So he's in the green jersey already,
Yes.
but he's actually second in the points competition. But when
Right, because Yves Lampard, who won the first stage, is in yellow and green, technically.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So the second place rider gets to
Wears
wear
the
the
green.
jersey in that situation.
Yes.
But I noticed Wout's already on a green bike.
A green fork.
Yeah, some green highlights on his bike.
Green fork and green bar tape.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if Cervelo just had that ready to go already.
Of course they did.
Threw it in there.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to make it a rush job when they know it's a fact that he's going to be wearing the green jersey?
I mean, yeah, they were definitely thinking ahead on that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little too early to be riding a green bike,
So
especially when you're in the second place.
If you're in the second place and you're just wearing the jersey because the bike is a bit much. If you're, what about, okay, so now Wout is in green. And I believe on the day that he was in the green jersey, stage 2, he was still wearing his normal black bibs.
I think you're right.
Now he's wearing the green skin suit, right? All one piece skin suit. He's wearing shoes that are not green, shoes that were custom painted by Velo Kicks on Instagram that pay tribute to his child and his wife. And they're great shoes. Yes. They're hand painted, they're beautiful. So those are not green. His helmet is Red Bull. His bike is mostly black with a green fork and green bar tape.
Right. But when he was in yellow, he did have the yellow bike.
Yellow, the full bike was yellow or just the fork?
I'm looking at
I think it's just the fork.
It might have just been the front.
I think it's just the front, the
head
fork and the
tube,
and the bar tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and it does go up through the head too because the Cervelo S5 has like an all super integrated cockpit, right? It's like it's wild. It's got like a fork on the front. On the actual bars is a fork coming. There's the stem is a 2-piece fork.
Yeah, and I noticed Pog today. His Colnago has yellow lettering.
Oh, that's a nice touch. Yeah, that's nice.
One thing I kind of enjoy is when the team slowly adds a little more yellow to the bike every day.
I love the special jerseys or the special helmets. Like Carapaz has been wearing the gold helmet since he won the gold medal. I like that. I like the special jerseys that people wear for being like national champions, right? And if you are holding the jersey of the national champion, you get the flag across your chest. But if you at one point had it, then you get the flag like around the rim of your armband, which I think is nice. You know,
Definitely.
there's little touches like that I don't think are necessarily clear because a lot of jerseys and they're super busy, right? You're full of sponsors, and it's not always the easiest thing to like get these fine touch details and like notice them, right? Because they're trying to sell you friggin' tiles and windows and corrupt governments, all of the above.
Right.
So, yeah.
And Magnus Court, we'll just say, who Magnus went on the break early on stage 2 and 3 and 4.
Yes.
To get some mountains points so he could have that jersey throughout the first week.
Yeah.
Stuck with the black bib shorts, but polka dot helmet.
Yes. You can't go full polka dots.
Yeah,
not the bibs.
Not
in the
much?
shorts. What do you think?
I'd agree. Maybe if you're going to win the whole race, get some polka dots on your bike, but the shorts are a little weird because you're also in white shorts territory there. Which
White shorts are never good. AG2R wore them. Now they wear brown shorts, which I don't like the brown shorts either.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of, and they're like a French sponsor, so I know I'm not saying it properly. It's like IJAH du something, right?
Sure.
They got a stage win today. They really haven't shown themselves that much. There are other teams that haven't shown themselves that much either. B&B Hotels might as well not be there. Unless they had someone in the break today.
Yeah.
Which I bet they did because it was a 20-person break. And I think a lot of teams were like, you need to get in the break, okay?
Yeah, French teams and French riders have actually struggled quite a bit in the Tour for a while now. Cofidis, I think, has not won a Tour stage since 2008.
Wow.
So, but one French rider we both love is Thibaut
Pinot. He'll get a stage win, right? Came in fourth today. Today was a bit of a heartbreak. Yes.
Because what happened he got in the break. Bob Youngles went on the attack early, got away from the break, and held that to win. Pinot at one point looked like he was going to get him back. He was chasing him down out of the saddle. really looked like he was
fast descent from both of them.
going as
Youngles
hard as he could.
really
Yeah.
fast descent.
And then right before the line, Pinot gets caught by the third and fourth place riders, and he ends up fourth on the stage.
Right.
And as you said, he got punched in the face
Yeah.
yesterday.
Inadvertently
by
punched in the
accident.
face by someone handing out a musette on the side of the road. It was Trek, too.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Trek.
And Thibaut is just a great rider.
Yeah.
It's hard, I think, for American audiences to get a sense of some of these guys' personalities.
Yes.
Because they don't necessarily do a lot of English-speaking interviews and things like that. But he's been around for a while. He hasn't had a lot of luck.
No.
He's won Tour de France stages, but never the overall. 2018 or 2019, he was looking really good to win, but ended up injured his knee and had to drop out in stage 3.
He was like off the bike for well, not off the bike, but out of competitive cycling for the better part of like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing a lot of people might not know about Thibaut is that he is a goat farmer.
Yeah. Great Instagram account.
Yeah. Go follow his Instagram. It's at kim.goat.
It's great.
Hilarious.
You told me about it a couple months ago or something, and it is so much fun.
And once Pinot also did some Strava art and drew a goat.
Oh, did he?
On a map, yes.
Oh, that's cool. It's interesting to see, so I have not been shy about talking shit about Strava before on this podcast. I think there are things that it does perfectly fine, but there are a lot of things that they are lacking, and you pay a subscription, so you can sort of think that way, I think, right? One thing they are doing really well is this Explore the Tour thing. Have you looked at this at all?
I haven't, just because I'm afraid of spoilers.
Yeah, so I won't look at the spoilers either, but it does a really good way at just showing you each stage. You can just explore the stages, right? And so going forward, you can just look at a stage and it'll tell you, okay, right, we have an off day, stage 10, it's going to be 91 miles, it's 8,000 feet of climbing, here are the segments. And you go back and you can see, I don't follow many pros on Strava, but if you want to go and recap a stage, you can, and it'll show you, right? Some riders don't post their rides, but some do. Yves Lampard, his name is John Deere on Strava.
What?
Because his dad is a farmer.
Oh my God.
Right? He's French, right? And so his name is just John Deere. So I go to explore the stages and I see stage 1 and it says John Deere. Who the hell is this? Oh, right. Yves Lampard won that day, Wow. But then it's cool because you can see some Rigoberto Urán, it just auto uploads and it says lunch ride. Yeah, his ride from today said lunch ride, which is so funny, Rigo. You're riding in the Tour de France, lunch ride. So nonchalant. Auto upload from his Wahoo. Wow. Another thing I want to say about stage 3, right? This is the second stage that Magnus goes off the front. He got all 3-point segments on stage 2, right? So he's the only person with the resounding lead in the mountain points. This is the last stage in Denmark. He is a Dane. This was the energy was amazing, right? He's going through every checkpoint to get mountain points, and they're cheering him on. They're banging on the barriers, right? They're really loud. And he's very reserved up until the last KOM checkpoint, where he, big smile, waves at everyone, sort of celebrates as he crosses the line. And I don't know the exact numbers. I do know that Denmark has a population of 6 million people. And it was a lot. They had a lot of spectators on the side of the road. We're talking you could deal in percentages, right? Because they only have 6 million people in their country. They love cycling so much. They came out, they're cheering for Magnus, this amazing energy, right? I love to see, you think of the Tour as something that happens in France, right? First 3 days were in Denmark. We've been in 5 countries now or something. They dipped into Switzerland a little bit.
Switzerland and Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love to see those crowds. I think Denmark did a great job of hosting the tour.
Yeah.
One of my bucket list trips is to go to a grand depart of the tour.
Oh, it'd be
not
amazing.
in France, but in one of those other countries.
Yeah.
And that sort of energy for your hometown rider. Sometimes we see in the tour, if if the race is going through a rider's hometown, the peloton will let him go off the front.
Yes.
And his wife and kid will be on
On the side of the road.
And he'll stop and
Yep.
hug them, and you
Yep.
love to see stuff like that.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's great.
Yeah. I feel like also half of France has Pinot spray painted on the road.
Yeah, going up the Planche de Bellevue.
Yeah,
just
it was
Pinot,
awesome.
Pinot,
Pinot all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pinot was my pick for that stage. Unfortunately, he couldn't get in the break.
No.
John's pick for that stage
Yeah.
did win.
I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud. I just picked him like because I was like reluctantly like I know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
Pog.
Should have put a bet on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have. I guess. Should have put a bet on Magnus Cort being in the polka dot jersey. Not that it's like that far fetched, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wout van Aert, 2 stage wins already.
2 stage wins and 3 second places.
Yeah. Great tour for Jumbo so far.
Great tour.
What other teams have we not even talked about at all?
Well, if we want to do like winners and losers, I mean, Israel Startup Nation,
Yep.
Startup Tech
Yep.
did win stage 5, the Cobble Stage, which
Right.
was a victory they really needed.
Right. Simon Clark. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a great story too, because that's a guy who almost didn't have a contract this
Right.
year.
Right.
And
37 or 38 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just won a tour stage. We talked about Albus and Phoenix as
Yeah.
a team that's
Alpecin de Koenig.
DeKooning, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's struggling this year. They
make
may
it so
not
hard
come
with
away
names.
with a
Oh,
stage which is bad.
yeah.
AG2R got one today.
Trek's kind of dropping the ball.
Trek is definitely dropping the ball.
Yeah. Especially being like yes, EF is an American team, but everyone really thinks of Trek first, right? I mean, they're such a big brand. They got bike shops in too many places, and Lance, right, being attached to Trek and like growing that brand so much.
Right.
It's also a recognizable name. I think a lot of like the names in cycling of the teams, because it's all sponsored based, unless you're Ineos and you give you give your team the name the Grenadiers, which is interesting. It's hard. Like EF Education Easy Post. That's the name of a team.
Right.
That kind of sucks.
It does.
It sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of teams here who, if they don't start winning stages, are going to come away pretty
sad. Some sad sacks. Yeah. Who we got?
Well, Movistar, they're struggling.
yeah.
Arkea Samsic, their only hope is that Nairo Quintana can pull out a win. Team DSM has Bardet in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
So a GC top 10 finish is great for the rider, but for a team sponsor,
Not really great for
I
a
think
sponsor.
they want to
Not in the
see
same
a
way.
stage
Right.
win.
Right.
Cofidis, we mentioned, they've always struggled with the tour. Intermarché, Wanty Gobert.
No, Taco Van der Horn had an okay day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great day.
That's a rider
Came
we
second.
both love to see
Yeah.
win a stage.
Yeah.
And he could be good for a breakaway again
For
later.
sure.
I think he's got the fitness.
Yeah.
Astana,
Yeah.
not a big fan of Astana.
No, me
if
either.
you want to dislike Astana, go check out their rap video.
Oh, they all have a rap
pretty
video?
horrible rap video.
Yeah, check while you're at it. Google the Pog rap video. If you didn't hate him before, it's really, really lame and cringy.
Bike Exchange got one stage win.
Yep.
Michael Matthews, though, is a guy who always finishes second, and
Always.
seems like a lot of heartbreak for him
Yeah.
this tour so
Yeah.
far. And then Peter's team, Total Energies.
Yes. Right.
And Lotto Sudal also looks
True.
like they're going to be struggling for a win.
Yeah,
this
because
tour.
Caleb Ewan hasn't really had a shot. It's interesting the way these stages are built. Like, you can be different kind of sprinter, right? Like, some
Yeah.
tours are better for smaller sprinters like Caleb Ewan.
Right.
And some tours are better for bigger people like Fabio Jakobsen, Wout van Aert, right? They ride a little bit different on the bars. Their drive is different, right? It just depends on the stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pog and Wout and Team Jumbo-Visma have just been dominating this
Oh,
tour.
for sure.
There's not a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
for other
They
people.
have dropped the ball, and they've made some, maybe not even say drop the ball, right? Jonas is in second place. They haven't dropped the ball. They've made some questionable decisions. And in a different way than UAE, who has made some, like maybe they're not, maybe their team is sort of acting the way that we thought they would. Like I remember, like, you know, going in, I was like, UAE doesn't, like, their team is like strangely built, but they benefit from having one GC guy and being able to focus on him. Whereas like Jumbo, yeah, like people have been questioning Wout van Aert a lot. I feel like online, a lot of, you know,
there's
a
that whole
lot of
idea
stuff like that.
Him going for the green jersey has sort of helped UAE because,
Right.
again, Pog has won a couple stages and gotten time bonuses.
It's still early. We
but
got 2 more weeks.
It is still early, and if Jumbo pulls it out and wins the Tour, no one's going to question their tactics 3
Right.
weeks from now.
Right.
So
Right. It is interesting, like, right, because this is 3 weeks long at full gas racing. It is uncomprehendable for people like us who ride our bikes, you know, a decent amount and can like put in some what I would consider decent efforts, right?
Yeah.
But they would just wipe the floor with our asses.
yeah, especially
It's unreal.
and even more when you think about a guy like Roglic who's injured
Yeah.
and still going through this.
Yeah.
You know, I think Dan Martin in, I forget what year it was, 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
crashed and like had like a fractured coccyx and still finished the Tour and like hung in there for a top 10 or something ridiculous. And you know, if I
It's like the pain. So
I get some foot pain and I'm like, I don't know if I can
yeah,
do a
right?
surgery today. Yeah.
Yeah, like what like on
Yeah.
what is the total the tour itself, right? We didn't go over this the first episode. It's 2,079 miles and 160,000 feet of climbing, right?
Damn.
That is, they haven't even hit the Alps yet, and they've already had like 8,000, 9,000 like foot days. And now they're going to go and ride the Alps, have a couple of flat stages, and then go ride the Pyrenees.
I think,
No.
Yeah, Alps then Pyrenees.
Yes. It's just, you know, unheard of.
Yeah.
What else you got? Anything else you'd like to chat about?
Well, one thing I thought we could mention, Bob Youngles won the Tour today.
Oh, yes.
He's a former, I think it was Liège-Bastogne, Liège?
I think it is.
Winner. Guy's got great hair.
Yeah, but,
You
I
think-
mean,
So maybe we should put this on our
Yeah.
Instagram as well or something and have our listeners
oh, okay.
vote.
I like
But,
this. Yeah.
Wout van Aert, also, we're looking at a picture of the two of them right
Yes.
now. I think they've both got like maybe 6 inches at least of
Yeah, they've got a great
beautiful locks.
They've got a great updo. Now, Wout obviously stands Wout from the others. He has a nice highlight in the front of his hair. Now, I also say that we're benefiting. The picture of Wout is better because it's on a white background, and his hair really gets to pop. Youngles' hair sort of gets lost in the dark background, so I don't love that for him. I mean, we have discussed in private just turning this into a Wout van Aert fan podcast.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
Wout
could-
fan art is what we would call the pod.
Fan art, yeah.
Pod fan art. Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
We'll take this opportunity to announce the official launch of the Rhode Island chapter of the Wout van Aert Supporters Club.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great. But if you're talking hair, right? Daniel Oss, who recently dropped out of the Tour because he also crashed on the cobbles and broke a vertebrae, which is not great.
Yeah.
Really not great. He has great hair. There's also a young man with some, I would say, almost like famous hair in cycling, and it's Pog's hair.
Yeah,
Right? Like his hair is like iconic
You're right,
in the way
yeah.
that it always sticks out of his freaking helmet.
Yeah, Pog's got these blonde locks that are just always popping out of his helmet.
How do you put your helmet on? You're a person with longer hair,
Yeah.
right? Your hair is of the length where it could stick out of your helmet.
I have occasionally taken a selfie and it's stuck
It's
out.
happened.
But
Happens to Jeremy sometimes.
yeah, and Pog, I think maybe because he's blonde, it's a little more obvious
Sure.
at times. But any other rider, it looks goofy.
Yep.
But he's just out there winning the
Normally
tour.
it's out of like one vent, sometimes two vents. The other day it was out of like 6 or 7 vents in his helmet. It was like someone held his hair up as he put his helmet on, you know, or like there was a vacuum sucking his hair up. Like, how does this happen?
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about cycling team sponsors. Alpecin is a shampoo company. They make a caffeine shampoo. They originally, I think, they sponsored Marcel Kittle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sponsored his team.
Yeah.
Kittle, if listeners don't know, was a blonde German sprinter.
Yes.
Who retired early from the sport. But yeah, great hair.
Now, was Marcel Kittle around in the time of not wearing helmets?
No, he's recent.
Gotcha. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now, Laurent Fignon, who Greg LeMond beat in the 1989 Tour, this was the first time time trial bars were used. It's the first time an aero helmet was used, right? We were talking about it a little bit earlier. It was 1988 or 1989. LeMond it's an amazing 30 for 30 on ESPN for it. Greg LeMond, the last American to hold the yellow jersey, gets shot with buckshot while hunting with his cousin or uncle or something. They basically say you're probably never going to get to ride again. He had already won the Tour previously, 1985, 1986.
Sounds right.
Yeah. He comes back, and on the last day, very similar to Pog and Rog, comes back and beats Laurent Fignon in the time trial while using, they called them Le Monde bars at the time. They weren't even time trial bars, right?
Yeah.
And he was out front, and Laurent Fignon, no helmet, regular spectacles. I would call them spectacles. They were like round glasses, balding, long ponytail, no time trial bars. Ended up losing on the time trial day. Yeah.
Yeah, Fignon, who later died of cancer that he attributed to the drugs he took for doping.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Sad story there.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of cycling history.
Yeah.
As you said, there's that ESPN 30 for 30.
Yeah.
It's based on a book called Slaying the Badger by a journalist, Richard Moore, who recently passed away. And that's all about the rivalry between Bernard Hinault and Greg LeMond, who are actually teammates but rivals at the same time.
Right.
And
Hinault was known as the Badger.
Hinault,
right?
yes. Yeah. The honey badger, because he never let go.
Yeah, right.
And in terms of LeMond's cycling accident, some people actually think that there's somewhat of a curse when it comes to
the cycling or the shotgun?
The shotgun accident.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But some people think there's somewhat of a curse for Tour de France winners. Eddie Merckx, the year after his first or second Tour de France victory, crashed in a velodrome.
Oh,
crash.
really?
Yeah, he was getting paced around by a motorcycle or a moped, basically, and crashed, knocked his hips out of alignment. He just went home and went to bed, basically. But from then on, for the rest of his career, had lower back pain.
Oh, really?
He's famous for fidgeting with his saddle height because it would temporarily relieve his pain.
Oh, interesting.
But eventually it got so bad that he retired relatively early. He retired at like 36.
Yeah.
Bernard Hinault, who we just talked about, he had a knee injury midway through his career that plagued him throughout. Yeah. Alberto Contador had an aneurysm at one point.
He did?
Yeah.
Have you seen, he works for GCN now?
Oh, really?
He just I saw footage of him going up super planche or maybe the next stage. He still climbs so well. He's so good.
Well, Armstrong had his brush with death before his now revoked.
That's why he knew he was going to win the Tour, because he had cancer.
He almost died. But there is sort of a dark history there with Tour de France winners. So,
well, hopefully not for Pog. Who was who won before him?
Before Pog?
Yeah.
Bernal.
Oh no. Oh my God.
There's another one. There you go.
What the hell?
Bernal won, and then he crashes himself into a bus. Chris Froome also had a career-ending injury.
Geraint Thomas, the gilet. Yeah, that's his bad luck. Leaving on that dumbass jacket. Geraint, what the hell?
Geraint had a horrible season last year in terms of crashes.
Yeah,
but
stayed up on the cobbles though.
Wood, he's going well.
I'm gonna just do a full 180 and say I'd love to see him podium.
All right.
I saw an interview with him it was after the stage. I don't remember what stage it was. And but it was one that they had to ride their bikes back to the buses. And he's asking the DS or the organizer, like, how far is the ride? And the guy's like, you don't want to know. He's like, how far? And the guy goes, 23K. And he goes, 23K? I just fucking rode 110 miles. You want me to ride 23 kilometers back to the, right? 23 kilometers is what, 13-ish miles?
I think so, yeah.
Come on. I loved it. Honestly, I was like, Garrett's cool with me.
Yeah.
And Wiggins likes him, and I love Bradley Wiggins. They're like friends. Right?
Yeah.
So
in my opinion, Thomas has a great sense of humor.
yes, I agree.
I was happy to see him win. And I do think that his Tour de France victory speech was one of the funniest I've ever
you sent that
seen.
to me, and I was just being a hater. I have to grow up myself. I like Geraint Thomas now. I have no problem with him. Yeah. He's just so easy to make fun of because he seems like a freaking dorkwad.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe that's
but dorks
why I
are
like
okay.
him.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with dorks.
And yeah, shout out to Bradley Wiggins also because that guy has a great podcast as well.
Yeah, for sure. Him and Matt Stevens.
Loved hearing him reflect on his tour win 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And how kind of humble he is and how
Yes.
he feels like he's a completely different person.
He
now.
totally it's just a separate part of his life.
Yeah.
He even says that he can't recall certain big moments he recalls, but he will ride because he rides on the motorbike now during the stages for GCN. He looks so cool.
Yeah.
But he rides in the throughout the peloton, and he's like, I can't believe I used to do this. You can't tell me that I used to do this. It's like a very separate part of his life.
Yeah. And a very healthy attitude.
I think so,
imagine,
too.
To be able to leave that part of your life behind.
Something tells me that Pog won't be the same in 15 years.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
In 10 years, he's won 5 more tours. And so 5 years after that, we'll see. I'm very excited about the next 2 weeks. Right? I mean, there's Alpe d'Huez is coming up in a couple of stages. We have a rest day today, the day this episode comes out. We come back for pretty hilly route for stage 10. Then stage 11 has Alpe d'Huez, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not even the final climb. No, Galibier is stage 11. And then stage 12 is Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
Wow. Back-to-back stages.
Yeah, it's going to come quick, and those stages are really going to show if Jonas can hang with Pogačar.
I hope it's the other way around, and Pog is trying to hang with Jonas.
Right. Yes.
That's would be nice. Yeah.
We'll know if we have a real race on our hands pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's too early to call it yet. 39 seconds, 1/3 of the way through. Right. Almost halfway through. Right. 21 stages.
Yeah.
Tuesday's stage 10.
Yeah, this tour was a little funny because we had the 3 stages in Denmark and then a rest day.
And then a rest day.
Another whole week.
Which was actually, if you ask the riders, it was not a rest day, it was a transfer day. Because it's a pain in the ass for them.
Planes and cars and all that stuff.
And they love their hotels in Switzerland. Have you noticed that? I've seen multiple interviews with riders that are like, we're in Switzerland, that means great hotels. It's like, oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't mention in the first podcast is the Lantern Rouge.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the award given to the last place rider in the tour. Historically, this rider would ride around on the last day in Paris with a little, carrying a red lantern and a little bucket to collect money from the spectators.
Oh, I did not know that
he was
part.
going home without any prize money, so he'd just get
that is not a thing anymore, is it?
No, I don't know if there's any monetary prize. I don't think there's any reward for being the Lantern Rouge. It's just kind of a badge of honor. But currently, that's Anthony Turgis in 165th place.
Wow. How many did we start with? I know there's been a few DNFs, a few people drop out.
Yeah, we started losing people quickly. It was
173, or was it?
Like
Yeah.
So
yeah. We'll see how many other riders drop out because their fitness isn't at the right level or because their, teams are sort of shifting the way that they're going to do things. And because we sort of talked about it in between the last episode and this episode, but talking about Primo's going for the Vuelta.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still in that position where he could go and compete as a GC contender for the Vuelta because he's not necessarily going for GC now here with Jumbo. Like, is that even official that he's not going for GC? I think it's too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon. 2020, when he did lose to Pogacar, he went and won the Vuelta right after.
The same year.
Yeah, they have about, I think they have most of August off.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't think you have to be quite at tour level to win the Vuelta.
Right.
No shade on the Vuelta, but
Oh, of course. Right.
it's just a different race.
It's
So,
more like the NCAA Final Four, as opposed to if the Tour is the Super Bowl of cycling, right? It's like the NCAA Final Four,
yeah,
the Vuelta.
yeah.
Yeah. The Giro is the women's U.S. Open. Okay.
Which, speaking of women's sports,
Oh, yes.
We'll just plug it now that we are going to hopefully do a women's Tour de France preview.
Yeah, and I would
coming
love
up.
to talk about the women's Giro, which just ended as well. I've been watching a lot of the Tour and thinking about the Tour a lot, so I haven't really watched too much of that. Don't think it'd be good to talk about it now, but I'd love to talk about both of those races.
Yeah,
The Giro Dawn and the Tour de France Femme
absolutely.
avec Swift.
All right.
Yeah, that's like the full name of that.
Yeah,
Like avec Swift is in the title of the women's tour.
Zwift's got that money they're throwing
They do.
around now.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, maybe Swift will sponsor us someday.
Hey.
Not if I have anything to do with it. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Anything else that you're looking forward to? Well, hopefully we'll be back in about a week's time to be, recapping week 2 of the of the tour.
No, I think we covered it all. This has
Great.
been a great first week, and looking forward to the rest. Listeners, ride safe out there and have fun.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Cal.
Thanks.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.